Can you deliver?
Tonight. Before you go to bed. Cat's in a bag and the bag's in a river.
How does one write perfection?
I'm a schoolboy. Teach me, teach me.
The answer is surprisingly simple.
Maybe I left my sense of humor in my other suit.
By rewriting, and rewriting, and rewriting.
Now, is it a farce or is it?
This is the aptly named Sweet Smell of Success, a 1957 masterpiece directed by Alexander Mackendrick, written by Ernest Lehman and Clifford Odets.
If you're funny, James, I'm a pretzel.
It wasn't a success at the time, but it's a classic today for many reasons.
You gotta know what's involved.
Its shadowy film noir cinematography by legendary DP James Wong Howe,
I love this dirty town.
its explosive lead performances by Tony Curtis as the unscrupulous press agent Sidney Falco,
But he's got the morals of a guinea pig and the scruples of a gangster.
and Burt Lancaster as the earth-shaking poisonous columnist J.J. Hunsaker.
I'd hate to take a bite out of you. You're a cookie full of arsenic.
But above all, Sweet Smell of Success is famous for its pitch-perfect screenplay,
Bite on this.
rich in mannerist, proudly unrealistic dialogue.
Starting today, you can play marbles with his eyeballs.
This distinctive gutter poetry only works so well, though, because everything the screenplay helps to elevate it.
Match me, Sidney.
In this video, we'll take a look at the film's most famous scene,
Not we, Sidney. You.
a five-way dialogue between Sidney, JJ, and three other characters.
Why is it that everything you say sounds like a threat?
A scene that shows all that's perfect about the screenplay.
Maybe it's a mannerism, because I don't threaten friends.
Its tri-dimensional characterization, sharp dialogue, intelligent subtext, and dense, multi-layered narrative.
Now, don't kid a kid up.
But before sitting at the table, how did we get here?
What you promised, do it. Don't finagle around. It's later than you think.
The first draft of the screenplay was penned by Ernest Lehman, author of the source material, and of great screenplays like Sabrina,
Animal, vegetable, or mineral? Definitely animal.
the underrated Executive Suite,
Do me a favor, will you? Read the funnies.
There aren't any in the Times. Don't you know that?
Then read Situations Wanted. You may need one.
and presently North by Northwest.
I'm an advertising man, not a red herring. I've got a job, a secretary, a mother, 2 ex-wives, and several bartenders dependent upon me.
Now comes the but.
But what?
When it was time to shoot the Sweet Smell script and rewrites were needed, as they tend to be, Lehman fell sick. So Sandy Mackendrick had to get a new writer, someone experienced and talented enough to polish the pages, and in walked Clifford Odets, celebrated playwright, and the inspiration for the character of Barton Fink.
No.
And what he did was much more than rewrite.
Watch me run a 50-yard dash with my legs cut off.
Quote Mackendrick, "What Clifford did, in effect, was to dismantle the structure of every single sequence in order to rebuild situations and relationships into scenes that were more complex and had much greater tension and dramatic energy." The scene we're looking at was originally quite simple. Sidney goes to Hunsaker, sits on his table. Hunsaker speaks to a random trio who only nods along. They leave. Then Sidney asks why his clients aren't mentioned in his column. Mackendrick understandably found it dramatically weak. Sidney should know full well why JJ is hanging him out to dry. Because he hasn't broken up Hunsaker's sister's relationship with a musician, the mission he was given.
Conjugate me a verb, for instance, to promise. You promised to break up that romance. When?
When rewriting, two things were decided. JJ should bar Sidney's entrance, make it harder to get to the king. And Sidney should only go confront him because he's got some ammunition of his own. That is, he knows something JJ doesn't.
I've got a message from your sister.
Odets also thought that Hunsaker's power should be made explicit. We should actually witness the pull he had, what he was capable of doing, why the world feared him.
Be warned, son, I'll have to blitz you.
And those random characters at the table made for an ideal opportunity. The playwright took a little trifle and pumped it up with life till it became a scene for the ages. Alexander Mackendrick wrote perhaps the greatest book ever written on filmmaking, but whose name I don't remember, and dedicated 30 pages to this scene. Let's go through it. To start, this scene is the introduction of J.J. Hunsaker, a character presented up until then as a legend. He's a mediatic myth.
When I spoke to JJ last night,
All talk about him with reverence and fear.
Just that it makes me feel bad when Mr. Hunsaker hurts you.
every dog will have his day.
A Broadway titan who can canonize and pulverize.
And Hunsaker is the golden ladder to the places I want to get.
But for 20 minutes, we see no more of him than a picture. We hear the names Hunsaker or JJ 23 times before we see him.
Why does Mr. Hunsaker want to squeeze your livelihood away?
When it's time to finally meet the sacred monster, the screenplay delays his intro by having Sidney try to lure him out of the table with a phone call, denied with flair.
No, you're dead, son. Get yourself buried.
Even when dismissing Sidney, JJ does so with a colorful command. Sidney gets to the table anyway, and we get one of the many treasures Odets added to the screenplay.
I often wish you were deaf and wore a hearing aid. With a simple flick of the switch, I could shut out the greedy murmur of little men.
Hunsaker talks to Sidney, contemptuously at that, by talking to someone else. This will happen throughout the scene, and is one of the aspects that made the screenplay as dense and complex as it is. Character A talks to character B by, in fact, speaking to character C. Character relationships are developed by bouncing on other characters. One of Odets' major contributions to Lehman's screenplay was expanding confrontations between two characters into sparring sessions between 3, 4, or 5 people, leading to the most unpredictable and elaborate back and forth.
Tell me, sir, when he dies, do you think he'll go to the dog and cat heaven?
Not counting the phone intro and a little exiting epilogue, I divided the scene into 7 little segments, ranging from 26 seconds to a little over a minute. The first one shows what a challenge it is for Sidney to sit at JJ's table.
I don't want this man at my table. I've got a message from your sister.
Objective 1 complete. The next little segment introduces the trio. The senator is telling a story about a Supreme Court judge, but JJ already knows it and even published it on his column.
Oh, yes, Justice Black, that's right. But I believe I had it in my column.
Last July, the lead item.
Well, I believe that's precisely where I read it, too.
Even the senator sucks up to JJ.
You see, JJ, where I get my reputation for being the best informed man in Washington.
And Sidney, deft orbiter of power that he is, sucks up to the senator.
Sidney Falco, sir, but everybody knows and admires you, Senator Walker.
The other two are introduced, Starlet and her agent. Hunsaker makes sure to insinuate something about the agent.
Everyone knows Manny Davis. Except Mrs. Manny Davis.
The next segment starts with JJ answering a phone call. Remember when Sidney called him 2 minutes ago? He's so busy he has the restaurant phone right in front of him at all times. He's told a little joke for his column. The agent sucks up to him by laughing. He stops.
Billy, you're not following the column. I had it last week.
You see why Sidney mentioned earlier when the Supreme Court news was in his column?
But I believe I had it in my column.
Last July, the lead item.
It's important for JJ that his cronies follow his work closely.
Senator, do you believe in capital punishment?
Why?
A man has just been sentenced to death.
Now Sidney makes a call back to his death sentence.
You're dead, son. Get yourself buried.
He does so by presenting it as a political question to the senator.
Senator, do you believe in capital punishment?
An abstract subject connected to physical reality.
Why?
That's wit. Segment 3 is about the girl. JJ inquires.
Well, she sings a little.
Based on his enthusiasm, this must be the worst agent there ever was? Or he thinks her talents are in something that shouldn't be stated publicly. She claims she's only a student of singing, and implying her favor exchange with the senator, Hunsaker insinuates she's studying politics.
You might, for instance, be studying politics.
The indirect approach. She says she hasn't got the brains for it.
Me with my Jersey City brains.
The brains may be Jersey City, but the clothes are Train and Norell.
He observed an investment has been made on her looks. At this point, the senator is desperate to change the subject.
Are you an actor, Mr. Falco?
Also what the girl wants.
That's what I was thinking. Are you, Mr. Falco?
We start a new segment. Hunsaker loves it that they think Sidney is an actor. Mackendrick says it's because press agents look down on their own clients. Hunsaker takes the opportunity to describe Sidney and his entire profession in the most disdainful way he can.
He's a hungry press agent, and fully up to all the tricks of his very slimy trade.
In a little blink-and-you-miss-it moment, a random press agent arrives. Definitely to ask for a favor, as they all do. But JJ is so well informed he puts him down before he can even open his mouth.
I know that wonder boy of yours opens at the Latin Quarter next week.
Like he did to Sidney,
Get yourself buried.
He dismisses him by giving an order.
JJ, say goodbye, Lester.
Now the senator asks questions the audience wants to hear.
Exactly how does a press agent work?
The tried and true tactic of having what Mackendrick calls a foil ask for the needed exposition. Sidney answers with personality.
A press agent eats a columnist dirt and is expected to call it manna.
But don't you help columnists by furnishing them with items?
The senator lifts him up a bit and Sidney jumps fully on board, wanting to punish JJ.
A columnist can't do without us, except our good and great friend JJ forgets to mention that.
It's a moment of exposition as ammunition. If you know nothing about the relationship between press agents and columnists, you're learning it right now through character conflict.
We furnish him with items.
What, some cheap, gruesome gags?
You print them, don't you?
Necessary information is being delivered to attack another character.
That's the only reason the poor slobs pay you, to see their names in my column all over the world.
And Sidney is doing exactly what JJ just did, insulting him by talking to someone else. But Hunsaker doesn't need to put up with anyone putting him down.
The day I can't get along without a press agent's handouts, I'll close up shop and move to Alaska lock, stock, and barrel.
The sycophantic agent tries to kiss his ass.
Sweep out my igloo. Here I come.
Bad moment.
Look, Manny, you rode in here on the senator's shirt tail, so shut your mouth.
Perfect moment to say that if you're learning a thing or two, like and subscribe. If you're learning 3 things or 4, join me on Patreon. Now we enter the climax of the scene. Ever the politician, the senator tries to ease the situation.
Now come, JJ. That's a little too harsh.
And JJ makes his true power known.
They dig up scandal about prominent people and shovel it thin among columnists who give them space.
And what Hunsaker does is basically the same as a mafia hood saying, "Nice family and political career you got there. Would be a shame if anything were to happen to it." He straight up gives away the agent and girl's plan as if he were a friend giving sound advice.
That this one is toting that one around for you.
The senator thanks him for it.
Thanks, JJ, for what I consider sound advice.
But we all know he's implying he can destroy the senator's life with a pen stroke of his column.
You're a family man, Harvey, and someday, God willing, you may want to be president.
To keep his air of superiority even higher, instead of saying goodbye, he says,
Go thou and sin no more.
During his exit, he foots the bill, typical alpha move, and tells Sidney what he really thinks of his longtime friend.
My big toe would make a better president.
End of scene. These 5 minutes had multiple moving pieces. Sidney and Hunsaker's relationship was clearly explained, but as a dramatic clash instead of dry exposition. It was made clear why Sidney and other press agents must eat JJ's dirt. An entire subplot with a beginning, a middle and an end was performed, and it dramatized discreetly JJ Hunsaker's power to destroy careers.
Are we kids or what?
Our mighty antagonist was also presented as a fully tri-dimensional creature. In these few minutes we see him as calm, angry, direct, indirect, polite, rude, advising and threatening, all without ever coming off as contradictory. Because we know the calm hides anger, the politeness hides rudeness, the advice hides threats.
Why furnish your enemies with ammunition?
It's no exaggeration to say that this single scene is multitudes better than most movies.
Mr. Falco, let it be said at once. There's a man of 40 faces, not one. None too pretty. And all deceptive.
And all that was needed to achieve it was rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. Thank you for watching.
May I rent you out as an adding machine?